And everybody, the bathrooms are right back here. And Mike Tortorich, he is for hire if you want a cameraman. Yeah, he is. He's the best there is. Well, at least I only know one. So. If you want to fill it up. If you don't feel like you want to, then
Okay. Let's wait till. Are we right, Jeff? Yep. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I do appreciate it. My name is David Oates, and you can tell by my accent I'm not from around these parts. And I'm the founder and developer of reverse speech. This is the field I have been pursuing full-time for 42 years now. In the lecture today, I'm going to be taking you through various aspects of reverse speech, how it works. Be playing you lots of examples. We'll go into the human mind and the human spirit and show you what an amazing, incredible technology that this is. And I'm sure once I finish, you will agree with me. So let us begin. And I'm going to give you my basic theory to start off with. If human speech is recorded and played backwards, extra messages can be heard amongst the gibberish. And quite literally what I do is I record speech and run it in reverse. And every few seconds you'll hear this very clear phrase amongst the gibberish that is coming from the conscious, the unconscious and the spirit. So we're going to give you a couple of simple examples to start off with. This is an example from a casual conversation. Here we go.
This is just one of many, many lifetimes where we are here to develop the soul, basically. And when that is achieved, the soul will ascend.
Okay, normal, everyday, casual conversation. Now, I'm going to play a small section of this in reverse. I've just isolated the clip. I'm going to play it at 3 different speeds. Listen very carefully. See if you can hear what is being said backwards.
I love you today.
I love you today. I love you today.
Anyone hear anything there? Okay, I'll move on.
I love each day.
You're exactly right. I love each day. Here it is again. I'll play it 3 times.
I love you today.
I love you today.
You hear that okay?
I love you today.
Now what I'm going to do is play the whole lot backwards and see if you can hear it amongst the gibberish. You'll hear this meaningless gibberish, and then suddenly right in the middle of gibberish there's a really clear phrase, I love each day, and then back to gibberish once again. And I'm just playing it straight backwards. So here we go.
Nessa was fish, ze annem ma was I love you today.
Did you hear that just jumped up out of the gibberish there? That's as clear as these things are. They're very clear, they're very apparent, they can be heard by other people independently. Sometimes without prompting, as I did this, I asked you to hear it without me telling you what we say. So let's move on to another example. This is from an Australian Aboriginal. He's part of what's called the stolen generation. Australia has a very dark history with the Aboriginals, and in the 1950s, the government removed all half-caste children from Aboriginal families and placed them in Catholic convents and orphanages, and it was a very tragic period in Australia's history. And here's an Aboriginal talking about how he was finding his family because he was separated. So his accent's even thicker than mine. So I wish you luck. Okay, so here it is forwards. Here we go.
And I was about 35 and I found out that my father was alive.
How did you find out?
It's just through word of mouth. Talking to different, the same with.
I mean, what something was said to you, was it?
Yeah, I just talked to different ones about it because I was sort of trying to trace one of my sisters.
So you found out that you had sisters and brothers?
Yeah, I knew all along I had one sister.
So he talks about how he found his sister, okay? Now I'm going to play a small section backwards. Listen very carefully, play it 3 times. Tell me what you hear.
I have an older sister. I have an older sister. I have an older sister.
Straight backwards. I have an older sister. What's he talking about forwards? Finding his sister. What's he talking about backwards? Finding his sister. So this is one of the core principles of reverse speech, is that the forwards and the reverse relate to each other. There's this direct contextual relationship. And that's one of the first things that convinced me of the reality of this back in the 80s when I first started, was all these direct connections between the forwards and the reverse. And it was really quite amazing to me. So, here it is again. I have an older sister.
I have an older sister. I have an older sister. I have an older sister.
And now I'm going to run the whole lot backwards again. You'll hear the gibberish, and then right amongst the gibberish, this clear phrase just pops out. So here we go.
That's at least this, and we must go well, you know.
I have an older sister.
You see how that just jumps up out of the gibberish? I have an older sister. And most reversals literally are as clear as that. And it's always been my big question. I mean, these things are everywhere, all throughout speech. How come no one discovered it before I did? It always puzzles me, you know. I thought, wow, it's so obvious. In a lot of the media interviews I've done, TV and radio, some of the sound technicians will tell me, look, we hear this stuff when we're queuing the tapes up in the studio, but we just think it's all coincidence. Well, I discovered there's a lot more than coincidence. All right, backward messages like the ones I just played you occur once every 10 or 20 seconds of normal, casual conversation. It's happening that frequently. I propose that it is a natural part of language. It is another previously undiscovered human sense. I call this phenomenon reverse speech. The way I got the name was, I got the name in 1987 when I was writing my first book on reverse speech. Well, I was calling it backward mastering at that stage. And I was trying to think, well, what do I call this? I was tossing around with mirror talk and shadow speak, and finally at one morning in April, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I had these two words in my mind, reverse speech. So I thought, that's what I'm going to call it. And I went to my computer, it's an old Commodore 64, if you can remember back those days, a long time back, and I wrote my theory. And the theory states that language is bi-level, forwards as well as backwards. As the human brain is constructing the sounds of speech, it's constructing those sounds in such a way that two messages are communicated at the same time. One is forwards and one is backwards. Now, it's taken me 42 years to work out what is speaking in reverse. And this is what I come up with, and I'm going to go through each one of these points as we move throughout the lecture. The first thing that is communicated is conscious thoughts. As you are talking, we're thinking. You might be thinking, this is a really great lecture. Or you might be thinking, this is a really lousy lecture. And if I was to record you and run you in reverse, I'm going to find out what you're thinking, what those thoughts are. Now that might sound fascinating, and it is fascinating, but it's got a whole lot of implications to it that I'm going to explore as this continues. The subconscious mind is speaking in reverse, which is hidden memories, warnings of physical disease, body functions. The unconscious mind is speaking in reverse. That's way down deep where human behaviour and personality is formed. And we'll be talking about the unconscious mind as this lecture continues. What is called the collective unconscious is communicated in reverse, and that's a storehouse of knowledge. The famous 20th century psychiatrist Carl Jung was a person who postulated the collective unconscious, and he claimed it was a storehouse of all knowledge. Reverse speech verifies that and adds more information to it. And most amazingly of all, point 5, it is the voice of the spirit. It is our spirit itself speaking. I have a fairly active therapeutic practice, and when I work with my clients, it's very common to hear spirit talking to conscious mind, giving advice, instructions, it's staggering. In point of fact, reverse speech is the voice of the heart. It is who we really are, deep down inside. Our innermost thoughts, our innermost fears, our connection to God, our spirituality, it's all communicated in reverse speech. All right, I am going to play you the very first news story where I announced the discovery to the Australian public. It's done together with my very first research partner, a chap named Greg Albrecht. He worked with me for 6 months in 1987. He has sadly passed on now. I miss Greg a real lot. We were really good friends. So this is our very first news broadcast. Now look, unfortunately the reversal's a little bit scratchy on this broadcast, so I'll stop and tell you what they say. But you'll see my hair is just a little bit longer than what it is now. And I actually had a haircut for this interview. And when you look at it, you'll say, you did? So here we go.
Researchers claim they've discovered the seventh sense through their study of backward masking, the practice of listening to music and speech played in reverse. David Oates and Greg Albrecht say they've had thousands of examples of unintentional backward messages found on tapes of speeches by politicians, rock music, even plain everyday conversations.
It started with the Beatles. The Fab Four had teenagers around the world playing songs backwards to hear bizarre references to drugs, Satan, even the rumoured death of Paul McCartney. Now 2 Adelaide men have taken the study of backward masking further in what they say is a world first in research into the subject. Teacher Greg Albrecht and his associate David Oates have spent thousands of hours listening to all kinds of music, lyrics, conversations, speeches and interviews, backwards and forwards. They've come up with the startling conclusion that subconscious thoughts unintentionally appear in speech.
What about people watching this segment tonight? What would you say if people looked at you and said, well, these guys are crackpots?
Well, the proof of the pudding is in the listening. We've got the examples. Our credibility rests on the examples, and we've had people who have come into our home, they've listened to the examples in a sceptical manner, and they've left convinced.
Using modest equipment, they say they've captured the innermost thoughts of rock stars, public figures, even unsuspecting friends and relatives. According to the pair, everybody's doing it, as if it's a seventh sense. Paul McCartney, for instance, is supposed to be making references to marijuana and the law in his hit single Van on the Run.
I'll just pause. This one says marijuana, the law will banish us. A little bit scratchy, unfortunately. I'll tell you a little interesting fact about this. This song came out in 73, I believe, and in 79, Paul McCartney was busted carrying an ounce of marijuana in his bag going into Japan. And he was locked up for a couple of days, I believe, and he was banished from Japan. So here we have a reversal that's actually predicting something that's going to happen a few years later. We'll get into that a lot deeper as this lecture continues.
And there's even a hidden comment in Neil Armstrong's famous first words on the moon.
And this is man will spacewalk.
According to the pair, Armstrong is also saying subconsciously, man will spacewalk. They have published their fascinating and provocative findings in a book out this week. They believe the results can be
Here's
used
my
to
Commodore
recognise
64.
and correct speech problems or psychological disorders. Still not convinced they're onto something? Neither will we until...
Okay, well, I must admit, when I came in here, I was a bit sceptical about your work, but we decided that we'll tape our conversation. Okay, well, tell me what you found.
Well, I must admit I'm a little bit embarrassed about this. The one that says backwards is you love yourself, which is, I must admit, is what I was thinking.
Okay, so that was my very first news broadcast. That went all over Australia. It led to more TV programs and radio interviews and articles, and before too long my work was travelling through the United States, and I was asked to come to America on a lecture tour, which I did in 88, and I lectured to a crowd of a couple hundred people in Dallas. They absolutely loved it. Dallas police came, they wanted to use me in cases, so I packed up my home in Australia and moved to America to live in 88, 89. I lived here for 10 years. I left under rather difficult circumstances. I'll cover that as this lecture continues. So that was my very first news broadcast. All right, let us look at the beginnings of reverse speech. When I first discovered this, one of my aunt's questions was, when does this begin? Are we born with it, or is it a learned function from birth? And as luck would have it, or synchronicity as I call it, my wife at the time gave birth to twin daughters in July of 87. So I thought, yes, research project. So for the moment they came home, I started taping them. For the first 3 or 4 months I found nothing backwards. But this is the very first example I heard on my children at 4 months of age. Here it is forwards. And I play it in reverse, you'll hear the gibberish, and right at the end there's very clear hello. You hear that there? That's the 4 months of age. That was the first one I found on children, and I was so excited. I remember when I heard they go, oh my, that's amazing. Okay, so I've got 3 here on children I'm going to play. I want to play you my favourite. You know, I have reversals out of my favourites, and one of my favourite is this one here. This is my daughter. She's at 13 months of age. She's playing in a bathtub. She's trying to pick up a cup, but it's sliding along the bottom of the bath. So she looks up to me, reaches out for help. So here it is. You'll hear the bathwater splashing. So here we go. And back where she says, David, help me. Now the me is a little bit faint and drawn out. You have to listen carefully to hear the me. You'll hear the David quite clearly. You hearing that one okay? Here's a 3-year-old playing with some ducks.
Feed the ducks. No, I'm not going to feed the ducks. Feed the bugs. Yeah, feed the bugs.
And here she says, just loves to be a friend. Listen to the childlike, innocent nature to the reversal.
Just love to be a friend.
You hear that?
Just love to be a friend. Just love to be a friend.
Now here's an 8-year-old telling us about her schoolwork. And she's telling us, I do well at this subject and that subject. And she's about to tell us the subject she's not good at. But she stutters and stammers and continues on telling the subject she's good at. So the reversal occurs. I'll show you where it occurs. So here's the forwards.
I'm quite a good girl. And I'm quite good at maths and English, but I'm not.
You hear that? But I'm not. I'll do it again. She's about to tell us something she's not good at.
I'm not.
Oh, hang on. I missed it. We'll go back to the stutter. Here we go.
Quite good at maths and English, but I'm not. I'm science, but I don't know anything else.
So right where she has that stutter and she says, but I'm not, backwards she says, I'm not telling.
I'm not telling. I'm not telling. I'm not telling.
So no way she's going to tell us the subject she's not good at. Sounds like a little 8-year-old, doesn't it? Okay. Okay, the applications of this technology in working with children is just endless. Imagine getting inside a young child's mind at 4 months, 12 months of age. Child's been molested. What damage has happened to them? Often they can't communicate, but reverse speech will communicate. It will tell you. This is a reversal that sent the mother into tears. This is a 13-year-old handicapped girl. She's been non-verbal since birth, just talks in groans. Her mother sent me a recording and asked me to reverse it, and this is what I found. Oh. I don't know why that's not coming up. Hang on, that went. Okay, sorry. Backwards, Mummy, love you. No, it's not cooperating. Hang on, we'll try this again. What's it doing? Hang on, I'll go back one more. Right, we'll try it now. There we go. Okay, listen now. Do it again. That shit came across a little bit distorted. Could you hear? Oops, stop. Could you hear that? Okay? Yeah, okay. And here we have some words of wisdom from a young child. It says backwards, God made me.
You go on to terminate, I bet you step on then I would be you step on
You can't hear that one? I'll play it one more time. God made me. Restrict talks a lot about God and spirituality, and we'll get into that as this lecture continues. But there's a nice simple one to start off with. Words of wisdom from a young child. Okay, let's look at some of the, we'll begin looking at some of the many applications of this phenomenon. On the surface level, it will reveal conscious thoughts and secrets that are sometimes best left hidden. Right, now the Epstein affair is in the news right now. You know, everyone wants the Epstein files released. Well, I've got a reversal on Prince Andrew that's earth-shattering. I'll play it for you. He's being interviewed on the BBC. You remember that BBC interview where he really messed up and he implicated himself quite badly? So here he is talking about the photo. You should remember the photo with Virginia Roberts and Prince Andrews together. So here he is talking about it.
Nobody can prove whether or not that photograph has been doctored, but I don't recollect that photograph ever being taken.
Okay, two things. I want you to watch his lips, and I want you to listen to the tone of his voice. It's got a really creepy tone. He says backwards, Jeff had to get murdered.
Jeff had to get murdered. Jeff had to get murdered.
You hear that?
Jeff had to get murdered.
Quite a clear reversal, I'm sure you would agree. Did you see the lips mouthing out the reversal? That's one of the things that amazed me when we had the video technology, was these backward lip movements mouth out the reversal. So what does this reversal mean? It tells us three things. One, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. It wasn't suicide, as the press would have you believe. Jeffrey Epstein is dead. He's not alive, living in Europe somewhere, which is what the press would have you, some people's conspiracy theories say. But most importantly, Prince Andrew had knowledge that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, and he may have even ordered it. Jeff had to get murdered. We had to get rid of this guy. He's got too much knowledge. So why are the Epstein files not being released? Well, let's find out, shall we? Oh, hang on, I've got one more on the list of Prince Andrew. Here we go.
That you don't recall meeting Virginia Roberts, dining with her, dancing with her at tram, or going on to have sex with her in a bedroom in a house in Belgravia.
I can absolutely categorically tell you it never happened.
Backwards, you lusty fraud, you're blanked.
You lusty fraud, this man. You lusty fraud, this man. You lusty fraud, this man.
That's as loud as I can make it. Could you hear that one okay? It's a bit faint. Yeah, well, he was too. He got kicked out of the royal family, basically. All right. So let's have a look at Trump, talking about the Epstein files. So here he is.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
And here he says, reveal them not.
Reveal them not. Reveal them not. Reveal them not.
So he doesn't want the files released. Okay, why doesn't he want them released? Well, here he is. This is one of the reasons why he doesn't want them released. Look, let me just say something here. I'm not making any political statements here. Okay, I'm really not wanting to support Trump or support the Democrats. I'm just playing reversal. So don't get us offended. I've got a good one on Trump. I'm going to play both. So we're going to balance it out. But here he is, quite simply saying backwards, in the lie, or he's lying.
And that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth. And by the way, I never went to the island.
But here he says, in the lie.
In the lie. In the lie. In the lie.
So Trump is not telling the truth about his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And here we have Kash Patel, director of the FBI, saying if the files are released, it's going to be a huge mess. Why? And why didn't the Democrats release it? Because the Democrats are on the files just as much as the Republicans are, which is why no one wants these files out. And as Kash Patel says, it's going to be a big mess. Or have mess. Mess is it.
Let's just get to it because I know it's on people's mind. Epstein, right? The reason people are pissed off about that is the same thing, right? 20 years ago, or whenever it was, 2006, 7, 8, Epstein gets his sweetheart plea deal, right?
So here it is, have mess, mess is it.
Have mess, mess is it.
Have mess, mess is it. And once more. Have mess, mess is it. It's going to be a big mess if those files ever come out. I don't know whether they're ever going to see the light of day. We'll have to find out. All right, let's look at Johnny Depp and his defamation file. This is a funny one. I like this one. This is okay. So the opposition, what do they call it? The defendant attorney is asking Johnny Depp a question. Listen to the question he asks.
You've said before that if you want to be with a woman sexually, that she is rightfully yours, haven't you?
Could you repeat that?
And you've also said that with...
Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, that if you want to be with a woman sexually, that she is rightfully yours.
That's ludicrous.
Now where he says that's ludicrous, he says in reverse, you're bloody crazy.
You have the illusion.
So he's saying pretty much the same things backwards. That's ludicrous, you're bloody crazy. So you have this direct connection once again. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Oh yeah, look, I've got some of my books here. These are only samples. I didn't have enough to bring to sell, but you're welcome to get them on Amazon, but you look at them afterwards. I've written 20 books on reverse speech. Well, not just on reverse speech, other topics as well. But here's me talking about one of my books.
I just wrote a book that I thought was channeled called The Lessons of Love.
That book there.
Yeah, next week.
And backwards, we'll sell the book.
We'll sell the book. We'll sell the book.
So what am I talking about forwards? A book I've just written. What am I talking about backwards? The book. Direct contextual relationship. What are the odds of that occurring by pure chance? I mean, the odds are astronomical. Look, the skeptics, most of the skeptics that come around and say, yes, look, we can hear them. Monash University did a study in Melbourne, Australia, did a study on reverse speech. They concluded, yes, you can hear these phrases, but they trashed the whole concept of reverse speech because I'm not a linguist and I make money out of reverse speech, so I'm obviously a con man, so they just scrapped the whole thing. This is my career, this is what I do for a living, you know, so. All right. I first realised the power reverse speech had to reveal hidden secrets in 1990 during Operation Desert Shield, the prelude to Desert Storm. I just arrived in the United States to live, and I was contacted by a Washington insider by the name of Scott Jones. And he was employed by Congress to seek out new technology to bring them into mainstream. He was arranging lectures for me with the FBI and the CIA. These lectures did happen. And actually, if you Google reverse speech CIA, you'll see a listing on the CIA website where reverse speech is listed as part of the Stargate project. So anyway, I was reversing President George H.W. Bush, Dad, and I was finding military secrets and troop movements in his reversals. So let me play you a couple of these. Here's one that says, sent the Seahawk up.
I think things are moving in the right direction. And we're pleased so far with the solidarity, cohesiveness of the economic actions that have been taken.
And the Seahawk, as I later discovered, is an attack helicopter on aircraft carriers. So sent the Seahawk up.
Sent the Seahawk up. Sent the Seahawk up.
You hearing that one okay? That's pretty clear. However, this is the one that got me into a whole lot of trouble. I got in big trouble over this. I found a reversal on not just Bush, but George Bush, Dick Cheney, who was the Secretary of State? Jim Baker. And I found this word, Simone, all through their reversals. So here's one example of a Simone on Bush.
But we must recognize that Iraq may not stop using force to advance its ambitions. Iraq has massed an enormous war machine on the Saudi border.
And here he says, Simone, Simone in the sands.
Simone in the sands.
Simone in the sands.
I later discovered that Simone was an Arabic word, meaning a dust storm in the desert, or desert storm. What I had discovered, without knowing it, was the code word that they were using for Operation Desert Storm. So, my man in Washington, D.C., Scott Jones, wrote a memo to Dick Cheney. Here's a memo here, telling him all about reverse speech and Simone. And somehow this memo was leaked to the press. And overnight, reverse speech went all over the world. It was massive. Look, I've got a CNN interview where they talk about it, but the audio is really faint. I don't know if you're going to hear it. Let's give it a shot. And listen carefully. I'll turn it up as loud as I can. No, you can't hear that, can you? No. All right, let's forget it. Let's forget it. Okay. So anyway, that story, the CNN story, talked about reverse speech. What is reverse speech? What is Simone? Why is the president holding secret code words backwards in his speech? Well, once that story hit, my phone went crazy. I had numerous calls from Washington, D.C. telling me, don't talk to the press, shut up. So I did. I was a good little boy back in those days. I'm not so good anymore. But anyway, so I didn't speak to the press. About 6 months later, my lectures to the CIA took place. They were absolutely fascinated by the whole concept. They told me they would do further research into the field and bring me in on it. Never heard from them again, except when there's a link here. Just Google CIA reverse speech, you'll see it. When suddenly it appeared on the CIA website. So people often ask me, are the CIA using reverse speech? You bet your life they're using it. No doubt at all about that. They wouldn't want anyone to know about it. And the CIA, FBI, they don't want this public. Let me tell you an amusing little story. I was working for the Dallas police back in '91, and I did worked on about half a dozen cases. Reverse speech revealed the location of a body, location of a murder weapon. It all turned to be accurate. Then, on the last case I worked with them on, I was playing the reversals back in the room. They were all listening, and the reversal on the interviewing officer, and it said, "Last week I bought snow." You could have heard a pin drop in the room. It was like, they ushered me out to there. About 4 weeks later, there was me and one of my other students working for the police as well. After 4 weeks later, the FBI contacted the police departments and told them to stop using reverse speech, cease all contact. And so they did. I didn't hear from the FBI again until the Waco siege happened. We all remember Waco and David Koresh, the compound burning down. They asked me to do a report on David Koresh based on reversals. I analysed his reversals. Reversals said that Koresh meant no harm. He would come out peacefully if the FBI ATF went away, or they allowed his mother to come in. Of course, we all know what happened. They ignored my report. They went in and the compound burned to the ground. Then came my next big shock. I'll never forget this phone call. The Dallas Press wrote an article on reverse speech, my involvement with the FBI during Waco. When that article came out, I received a phone call from the FBI. It was Agent, Tom Strentz, S-T-R-E-N-Z was his name. And he told me, never go public with reverse speech. If you go public with reverse speech, we will crush and discredit you. That was an exact quote. To this day, I can still remember those words. Okay, so what did I do? I went public with reverse speech, but we'll get there in a little bit later. Okay, so let's look at briefly in some of the implications in law enforcement. Here's a convicted murderer, Scott Peterson, who's currently somewhere in jail in California. He's being interviewed before his trial, and a reporter says, "Did you murder your wife?" He says, No, I did not.
Did you murder your wife? No, I did not.
But backwards, he says, neck I hit hard.
Neck I hit hard. Neck I hit hard.
So as he denies the crime, he flashes back to it, and he remembers what he did. He hit her hard on the back of the neck. Now, when they found the body of his wife, it was decapitated, and they never did find the head. So reverse speech was able to accurately show that this guy was guilty. Let's look at a well-known case. John Benet Ramsey. You all remember John Benet, the little girl who was murdered in 1996. They still haven't found the murderer, but I know who did it. Reverses tell me. Here's the mum, Patsy Ramsey. Listen to this.
We feel like there are at least two people on the face of this earth that know who did this. And that is the killer and someone that person may have confided in.
Backwards, she tells us who that person or the killer is. And she says in reverse, I'm that person.
I'm that person.
Clear as day. Then she tells us how she did it. And she says, I struck her head.
It was the day after Christmas, so we were going to go visiting. A
little bit of gibberish before that. And then she says, of course, John Benet was indeed hit in the head. And she was garroted. You remember? She had a garrote around her neck. And here, Patsy says, hold your neck. I killed you.
All the sheets, all that stuff. And that, and the work.
Can you hear that, or is that too faint? Can you hear that okay? Okay, all right. Okay, let's look at a funny one. I like this one. I always laugh whenever I play this one. Okay, this is Joe Biden, a couple of years before, about 2 years into his office. He's stuttering and stammering and carrying on. So listen to him trying to get through this speech.
There's been no indication
Oh, gee.
that's the case at all with regard to.
Sorry, so faint.
There's a total of.
Here he says, have I lost it? Yeah, he has. Yep. Okay. Oh, here's another one on Joe Biden. Here we go. This is an amusing one. Oh, he's giving his Christmas. This is his Christmas message. Okay.
It speaks to all of us, whether we're Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, or any other faith, or no faith at all. It speaks to all of us as human beings. We're here on this earth to care for one another, to look out for one another, to love one another.
And he says, and I'm an old fake.
I'm an old fake. I'm an old fake.
Clear as day.
I'm an old fake.
Just think of some of the implications of this in politics. I mean, what would happen to America if we had hundreds of reverse speech analysts out there? There's just one, me. Well, no, I lie. We've got about a dozen students who I've trained, but I'm the main spokesman. Okay, so just imagine if we had 100 or 200 of me out there reversing politicians. What's that going to do to the political arena? Wow, you're looking at a whole paradigm shift. Reverse speech will literally change society. It's a whole new way of thinking. There is no more lies.
Get some truth out of it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, next slide. Oh, here's a couple of funny ones. Look, like I said, I've got a fairly busy therapeutic practice, and when I tell my clients sometimes, look, if you've got any secrets you don't want me to know, don't let me record you, because it's going to come out. Okay. So here's one admitting he watches pornos.
People do it like they had like 5 days of it, one after the other.
Oh,
wow. True.
Gee whiz. Used to it, I'd play the pornos.
Used to. I'll play the pornos. Used to. I'll play the pornos.
That man was quite embarrassed when I found that reversal. He said to me, well, yeah, I do watch porno. And here's a client just from a few weeks ago who says, I warn there's no cannabis. He's run out of pot.
I said I'm excited to see how the next section, because the next one's a metal oxygen. There's no cannabis. There's no cannabis.
I have found so many secrets on clients' reversals, affairs and dishonesty and secret habits and fortunately I'm not a judgmental guy and I just communicate what I find. This is what I found, this is what it says. They go, oh no. I say, look, don't worry about it. We all have secrets, okay? Okay. Oh yeah, Bill Clinton. Did he inhale or not? What do you reckon?
Thanks to Iowa, I got to the White House in 92 and 96.
I got marijuana.
I got
Yeah, he inhaled. And here he is right after Monica Lewinsky scandals broke, and he's at a I think it's in Ireland. He was. It doesn't matter where he was, but it's obvious what's on his mind.
Come on, I mean, you all voted for the agreement now, and everything's basically going in the right direction.
They're all boring me, Monica.
They're all voting for you, Monica. They're all voting for you, Monica.
Clear as day.
They're all voting for you, Monica.
Very common to hear names in reverse. Names of towns, cities, friends. So, I mean, I've found names in reverse that have turned to be quite real. All right. I've been doing this for 42 years now. I have found so many secrets and truths. They're all in this computer. I've actually got a 5 terabyte hard drive in here. A gigabyte, a lot more than that. It's a quite expensive laptop, this one. And if the day that reverse speech is accepted and goes public again, I hope I'm alive for it. I'm 70 years old now. I've no intention of retiring. My parents are 95, still going strong, so I'm going to be here for a while yet. So, did we really go to the moon? The answer is yes, we did. The secret, the lie though, is not whether we went to the moon or not. The lie is what we found on the moon and why we haven't gone back. But I don't have time to get into that in this lecture today. Who killed JFK? It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. I know who it is. I've got him on tape admitting it. Who killed RFK? Sirhan was programmed, MK Ultra, got his reversals. Who was really behind 9/11? Larry Silverstein, who controlled implosion, working with... Look, I don't know whether he was working with the sun or not, but he certainly had the buildings wired up. Did O.J. Simpson really kill Nicole? Yes, he did. The truth about COVID, its origins of the vaccine. I've written a book on that. I don't have it here, called The Big Con, where the Menendez brothers abused, and on and on and on and on and on. Like I told my mate Jeff, who set this lecture up for me, I'm like a machine. I have my headphones on. I just that's all I do all day. Headphones on, playing tape forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. I've got hundreds of thousands of reversals in my computer. 42 years of work. This is my passion. Sorry?
Don't lose your computer.
Oh, I got lots of backups. Believe me. Yeah. This is my passion. I was called to do this. I might get into that as this lecture continues. All right, let's look at some other examples. Sometimes unsettling truths that reverse speech has revealed. Now, I'm about to play some reversals on some Christian leaders. I'm not getting stuck into the church. I'm a Christian myself, a very strong one. I was raised in the church. My dad's a minister, or was. What I have found in the modern church has really broken my heart, and it sent me into I'm still trying to process it all. But here's one. Okay, this is the leader of the United Church of Christ, talking about George Floyd.
And make it possible for a white police officer, Darren Wilson, a white police officer in the streets of Ferguson, Missouri, or in the case of Eric Garner in New York, or in the case of George Floyd in Minneapolis.
And here he says, our God is Satan. I found that across the board on many different churches and many different religions. Not religions, Christianity. That's what I'm looking at. Here we have the leader of the Episcopalian Church. Listen to how passionate he is as he's preaching.
Stay with me now. I want you to know I went to seminary. Pentecost becomes the extension of the incarnation. Right? I think I'm on solid theological ground there. That when that happens, a new world is coming into being, a new reality. Because the Jesus who is born is the Jesus who said, blessed are the poor.
Sounds quite genuine, doesn't he? But backwards it says, blanket, it's a lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie.
Doesn't believe what he's saying. Many church leaders and pastors I've looked at do not believe in what they're saying, and they're following the wrong God. It's
all across all spiritual leaders.
Yes.
Not just Christian.
I know all spiritual leaders. Yeah, I've looked at Muslims, Hindu. Yeah, it's across the board. Yes, it is. I've got verses here. I was not. Look, I've only got time to present so much in 2 hours. Here's the late Pope Francis. Of course, we all know about the sexual controversies that have swept the Roman Catholic Church. Here's Pope Francis addressing Congress in 2016.
We know that it's very difficult to judge the past by the criteria of the present.
Okay, now once again, listen to the emotion in his voice. Listen to the way this sounds. He says, I raped the other kids. Yum, means he enjoys it. Stop it, means he's having internal struggles with a secret sin that he has. I raped the other kids. Yum, stop it.
I raped the other kids. Yum, stop it. I raped the other kids. Yum, stop it.
Creepy, isn't it? It sends chills down your spine. I got horrible reversals on Pope Francis. Just horrible ones. Okay, here's a Pentecostal pastor, Hank Cunningham, speaking in tongues. I'm not having a go at tongues. I'm just giving an example. So here he is. It's stupid.
It's you, it's you, it's you, it's you, it's
Look, you know, the Bible says that in the last days, every secret hidden will be shouted from the rooftops. The voice of the heart will be heard by all. I quote some Bible verses towards the end where we'll actually reference this. Reverse speech is the fulfillment of prophecy. It is here to bring the world into truth. It's here to show us our heart, who we really are. Now that's going to be very, very, very scary for many, many, many people. This guy, Hank Cunningham, how's he going to react to reversal that says it's stupid, stupid, stupid? He's going to get really defensive and aggressive and quite upset. This is going to shake not only society to its core, but the whole church, the whole Christian movement. The voice of the heart, who we really are, the voice that God hears, is now available to us all. It's going to revolutionise society. It will turn it on its head. Why did the FBI tell me they were crushing the sweat of me if I went public? They don't want this out. No one wants this out. That's why the CIA is not talking about it. Doing their work in secret. Okay, I've done a lot of work on UFOs. I'm going to write a book on it. I haven't gotten around to writing it yet. I found con mans, I found truthful stories. Here's a chap named Travis Walton. There was a movie made about him called Fire and High, and he talks about being abducted. He's talking about crystals in this particular section, an interview with Joe Rogan.
Well, these crystals are supposed to have very special properties for people who are into crystal stuff, but...
what does that say there, Jamie? This is what happens, that's what...
I see the powerful ship.
I see the powerful ship. I see the powerful ship. I see the powerful ship.
So he's telling the truth. Okay? He had a real story. This is Bob Lazar. Don't know any of you follow Bob Lazar. He was allegedly an informant who came out public claiming there was UFOs in Area 51. He's been around for years. Is he telling the truth? Well, as you can see by the reversal.
When I worked there, I was on the front page of the paper, so they were still able to archive, bring that back from the archives. And Bob Lazar, a physicist working here at Los Alamos, so there was at least something there.
But he says in reverse, this is a fraud.
This is a fraud.
This is a fraud. This is a fraud.
So reverse speech will tell us who's lying, who's telling the truth, what they're hiding. Just let that gel for a little while. Oh look, that one's not very clear. I'm going to move past that one. Here's one, George Adamski from the 1950s. A bit of a scratchy recording.
And that there's no quiet in that land, so they consult their medium down there in San Diego.
No, you're not going to hear that. They're more circular.
Follow the ship up mentally.
You hear how the reverse is clearer than the forwards? We actually see that quite a lot. That's actually quite common, to have the reverse messages actually clearer than the forward dialogue. Okay, here's UFO occultist Billy Meyer talking about Palladian spaceships.
Where do they come from, Mr. Meyer?
They shall be coming from the star picture of the Pleiades.
But here he says, I help the bullshit prosper.
I help the bullshit prosper.
How do you think Billy Meyer would react to that reversal? He would be very upset. Most upset. Okay, where are we going to now? Alright, in 1996, despite the FBI's warning, I took reverse speech public in a big way. I was living in San Diego at the time. I appeared on thousands of radio shows all over the world and dozens of TV programs. I was even interviewed on Larry King Live, which is a real feather in my cap. Here's one show I did on Extra Television in 1997.
And that reverse speech is the mind's way of expressing the subconscious, revealing one's deepest thoughts and feelings. In other words, the truth. There's no way to control it.
There is no way to control it because it is the unconscious mind's own voice of truth.
Oates has written a book about reverse speech and teaches classes at his home near San Diego to an ever-growing number of ardent disciples.
Reverse speech is complementary, forward and reverse totally relate to each other.
Students play back their own speech in reverse to discover the hidden truths of their subconscious minds.
This communication with myself is the path to truth.
I found that reverse speech was a very exciting breakthrough in helping get the truth out of people.
Dr. Larry Dossey is an author and a practitioner of alternative medicine. He's followed Oates' work for several years and believes Oates' research should win him a Nobel Prize.
I can't imagine an idea in recent history that has the potential to help us understand the nature of the mind and reverse speech. The implications of this are just potentially staggering.
Oates says he began as a skeptic himself, but after 13 years of relentless research, he's convinced his findings are real. Listen to this final statement from Simpson about the dangers of tape recordings.
I would say, anybody out there that's married is in a relationship, just turn a tape recorder on, the next time you have an argument and play it back. You will not believe that was you.
Here's a portion of that in reverse, with Oates' chilling analysis.
I skimmed them all.
We hear OJ saying, I skimmed them all.
I skimmed them all.
O.J. Simpson. I skimmed them all. Black slang for I conned or I fooled them. Of course, the Nicole and Ron Goldman were practically skinned. They were slashed to pieces. So. Okay, where are we going to next? Oh, okay. I was fairly big on Art Bell, if anyone can remember that far back to the 90s. Here's what Art Bell says about the significance of reverse speech.
I tell you, it is power, David. It may almost be too much power. I have questions about that and whether the world is really ready for that kind of absolute truth, you know? And I wonder if reverse speech is going to end up in a fistfight. It probably is.
It did. My house was burned down. I had lynch mobs outside my home. I was sued. I was shot at. You've no idea the things that have happened to me when I lived in America. I finally went home in '99. Actually, it was my kids that got me to go home. I couldn't put them through this anymore, you know, and I just packed up and moved back to Australia. And I've been quiet for 20 years. I mean, I've been researching. I haven't stopped my work. I've just hardly had any media. And this trip to America, this one I've made here, was really my first foray back out into the public again. And I'm a lot readier. I hope the world is a lot readier. They weren't ready back in '99, unfortunately.
I tell you.
So in 1997, I received a threat telling me, make sure you're home tomorrow morning. We have a message to deliver to you. My house was burned to the ground. In an amazing coincidence, both the nearby fire engines had their engines out getting servicing and took 45 minutes to reach the house. The house was totally destroyed. And here's a reversal on my house fire. I was in session with a client, and my secretary runs in and says, David, the house is on fire. Our house is on fire. Here's the forwards.
A sense of them. I know with E. A sense of the chance images. A sense of what? Yes? What?
Something burning.
And backwards, or here's the forwards again.
What?
Something burning.
House on fire, house on fire. Now I'm playing this backwards now. Let's do it backwards. She says exactly the same thing. You hear that? Backwards. And here's the forwards. Oh, sorry. Okay, so here's the forwards again. And here it is backwards.
Something burning.
Can't tell which is forwards and backwards, can you? The house was on fire. It's what we call a mirror image reversal. Now, linguistically, that's impossible. How can you have a phrase forwards that reverses to say the same thing backwards? It's linguistically cannot be done. Guess what? It does. It happens. I hear mirror image reversals often, where they say exactly the same words forwards as they do backwards. Okay, so from that moment on, from the house fire, strange things began to happen. Our home and offices were under surveillance. We saw the same car parked outside several times. Phone lines were tapped. We discovered someone was downloading data from my computer at 3 o'clock every morning to a server in Virginia. That's where the CIA is, in Virginia. There was a drive-by shooting at my office, leaving bullet holes in the house, in the walls. People turned up to training classes. Strange people only to disappear. Bill Clinton even laughed off the existence of reverse speech. He was asked to, because I was finding lots of things on Bill Clinton, all these sexual reversals, you know, and I remember I did a few radio shows and said, look, I don't know what, but Bill's up to some funny shenanigans here. And they said, oh no, you're biased, you just don't like Clinton. So he was asked about it in a press conference, he laughed it all off. But shortly afterwards, he had a reversal that scared the hell out of me.
Once again, our economy is the strongest on earth. Once again, we are building stronger families, thriving communities, better educational opportunities.
Seal the mouth from Oates.
Seal the mouth from Oates. Seal the mouth from Oates. Seal the mouth from Oates.
Clearly I made an impression. I was all over America on all the big shows, and I was causing a lot of fuss. They did not want me in America. You know, several people have said to me, I'm surprised you haven't been assassinated.
Once again.
You know, is there wood here? Knock on wood. Okay. The following year in 1988, at the height of my fame in America, a single event created a chain reaction that led to the public ruin of my reputation. Hundreds of death threats, thousands of hate emails, and ultimately I was expelled from the well, not expelled, I was forced to go. You can say exile, but it was a voluntary exile. I was asked by talk show host Art Bell to play reversals on his favourite guest. This was a remote viewer called Ed Daines. And Art Bell had claimed on his radio show that Ed Daines was 100% accurate in his predictions, not according to the reversal. I started the show. When I played this reversal I'm about to play you here, Art Bell terminated the interview and never asked me back on his show again. So here he is, Ed Daines. Now, Ed Daines was predicting 300-mile-an-hour winds and shocking storms and earthquakes and oceans rising, and all this was going to happen in the next 5 years. This was back in '97. So I found this reversal on him.
Let me tell you what SciTech stands by. There is in the Cydonia region, there is one specific feature that we have remote viewed time and time again. We were so astounded by it. And again, don't forget that these are very interesting to us. We
received the big fund making it up.
Received the big fund making it up. Received the big fund making it up.
He was selling thousands of courses, you know, remote viewing courses. He made a lot of money making it up. Reverser said he was scamming the public. Interestingly now, 27 years later, where are these 300-mile-an-hour winds? Where's the oceans rising? Where's all the earthquakes? Didn't come. Never came. He was making the whole thing up and making a shitload of money doing it. Okay, over the next year, tensions increased dramatically. Art Bell accused me on the air, without evidence, of altering tapes to change reversals. I demanded a retraction. He told me to fuck off. I don't like that sort of stuff, so I hired a private investigator. Oh dear, I'm a bit embarrassed. I hired a private investigator to find some dirt on Art Bell, and he did. He found that Art Bell had been arrested for prostitution in the 1970s. So I went on my own. I had my own radio show then, and I played these things, made these accusations. Then Art Bell screamed for a retraction. Tell me you retract this. I told him to fuck off, like he told me. So he sued me for $60 million. I sued him for $140 million. And it was on. It was all over the press and the news. He claimed with affidavits that I was a serial killer, a cult leader, a drug addict, mastering voodoo and black magic. I had sex with clients. I was running a compound. And I mean, look, I lived in a 3-bedroom house with my kids. I mean, you know, and I'm seeing all this stuff and going, this is crazy. And the mainstream press, my kids were beaten up at school because they were my kids. And I got thousands of hate mails and death threats, and my reputation was literally destroyed. And I remember what the FBI told me: if you ever go public with reverse speech, we will crush and discredit you. And that's exactly what happened. I was crushed and discredited. So finally, really out of concern for my kids and my own mental health, to be frank, because it was not good. We agreed to settle the lawsuits. He apologised to me. I apologised to him. There was no money changed hands, and I left. Go back to Australia. Well, my parents begged me to come home. They said, David, just come home. I said, okay. Bye-bye, America. I remember when I was in the airport leaving, I took off my shoes and brushed the dust off the bottom of my shoes. Jesus tells you to do that if you're rejected in the town. So I did that in the airport when I left. Still live in Australia today. I had no intentions of ever living in America again, but I'm going to come back here every year, and do more lectures and workshops and, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. Okay. It appears as though the world was not ready for the truth back in the 1990s. Maybe it is now. I'll find out. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper, shall we? We've just been playing around. All right. Many reversals reveal the voice of the spirit talking to the conscious mind. Here is a reverse speech student who's looking for advice from his reversals for financial troubles.
Does it further for us to put more energy and money and effort?
And he says in reverse, "You're frightened, lean on me."
You're frightened, lean on me. You're frightened, lean on me.
So it's his spirit talking to him, saying, "I know you're frightened, I know you're upset, just lean on me, trust in me." Wonderful, beautiful, beautiful message for spirit to give. Here's a street preacher praying with a group of teenagers on the street. Reverse speech talks a lot about spiritual matters and God. God appears in reverse speech often, along with Yeshua, Jesus, the Son. I'm going to play you these as we go. But here's a street preacher praying to the teenagers with a wonderful reversal.
DeAndre, you're amazing, man. You are. You have amazing purpose, dude. You're amazing. Father, I thank you for DeAndre in Jesus' name.
And he says, "In the light are we."
In the light are we. In the light are we. In the light are we.
So there are nice reversals on Christian leaders. They aren't all bad. Unfortunately, 90% of the ones I've looked at are shocking reversals. Here's a good one on Donald Trump. I told you I'd play a good one on Trump. Here he is on the campaign trail.
I was talking, I made a nice speech, one big crowd. I said, and it's all over town, look at all that press, look at all of it.
And he says, "Serve that Lord of the light."
That Lord of the light. Serve that Lord of the light. Serve that Lord of the light.
Can you hear that? It's a bit faint. Sorry about that. Yeah. So look, I believe Trump's heart is in the right place, based in reversals. Yeah, he's rough around the edges. Yeah, he's got a past. I know all of that. But his heart is basically in the right place. He wants to do the right thing, based on this reversal here. I mean, I know all the things about Trump. I mean, I'm not silly. Here's Johnny Depp again on the witness stand. "Hear Lord who fills the heart."
Yeah. After a while, you realize that anonymity has left the building a long time ago. You know, the anonymity's gone.
"Hear Lord who fills the heart."
Hear Lord who fills the heart. Hear Lord who fills the heart. Hear Lord who fills the heart.
So also his heart is in the right place. Okay? He actually won the defamation trial too, by the way. Okay, here's some other wonderful reversals on some clients I found in session work. Here's the first one: "Divine, I must serve you."
We've just got to try. We've got a seminar that people have paid us to do in November that we're going to complete.
Yes.
Divine, I must serve you.
Divine, I must serve you. Divine, I must serve you.
Wonderful reversal, beautiful reversal. Here's another client.
I've been doing hypnotherapy and regression on other people in the past, and to actually have it done, it's really nice, and I'm so susceptible to
This should be a capital S on Son. Sorry about that. "The Son, he lives in my heart."
and the Son lives in the heart. And the Son lives in the heart.
Beautiful reversal. Reverse speech testifies that Jesus is the Son of God. That's all throughout reversals. Here's another one on me, talking to a client.
Have you ever had anybody like this before, David?
No, you're the first.
And "serve the light." Yeah. And here's another client.
Maybe this person's not the best, and I let go of them. And either like the other person needs to just do like one more thing to carry a little bit more of their weight.
Seem the surf of light gather thee. Surf is a metaphor. It means a movement, a flow.
Seem the surf of light gather thee. Seem the surf of light gather thee.
Notice it says thee. Often when spirit speaking, it uses words like thee, thou, thy, thine. It uses the King James version of language, which is I find quite fascinating. I don't know what that means, but anyway. Oh, gee, it's playing them all at once. Okay. One of the most common themes in reverse speech is that of the soul. It's one of the most common words I find. Reverse speech talks constantly about the soul, the state of the soul, whether it's diseased, whether it's healthy. Reverse speech says the soul has emotions, it's alive and active. Constantly talks about the soul. Here's one of my students working with a client with a wonderful reversal.
We'll likely get reversals that are pretty clearly from your unconscious mind, your subconscious.
Soul serve you, make you feel love.
Soul serve you, make you feel love. Soul serve you, make you feel love.
Wonderful reversal. Here's one on me. 6 months after I got back from America, I was a mess. I put on 100 pounds. My son was murdered, and I was a mess. It took me 5 or 6 years to fully recover from all of that. And here, listen to the pain in my voice. This is on me, talking about my depression after I came back from America.
Could be. Yeah, could be. Well, see, I'm very sensitive to energy. Ultra sensitive to energy.
And here I say, my soul gives the pain.
My soul gives the pain. My soul gives the pain.
You can hear me crying in reverse. You can hear the anguish in the voice.
My soul gives the pain.
I actually went into session work with one of my analysts to work all this out. I'm glad I did. It did me a lot of good. But anyway, here's another one. Oh, this is a client who's talking about a lawsuit. Reverse speech says that a lot of our conflicts or issues or what we see in the world is really a reflection of what's going on inside the soul. And here's a woman, she's fighting lawsuits. Oh, where are we? Here we go.
And I fully disclose. I let them know, look, I've got lawsuits pending, against this company, that company, this company.
And it's the soul I battle.
And it's just hard, like a...
So the lawsuit she's fighting is really an outward reflection of an inner spiritual conflict, okay? And a lot of the actions and events of life have a spiritual basis. All right, as I have shown, reverse speech discusses spiritual matters and the nature of the soul. In fact, reverse speech itself tells us where it's coming from the deepest regions of consciousness. Here's me on a radio show.
Some people ask me, does reverse speech endorse any particular religion? And the answer to that is no. There are no deities or religions that reverse speech endorses or says this is right or this is wrong. It just talks about the soul and the endlessness of life. And that in itself is very powerful.
And this tells us the depth reverse speech is coming from. It says it's the voice in heaven.
Indeed. Yes, the voice in heaven. Yes, the voice in heaven.
So it's a lot more than just the conscious mind and conscious thoughts. It's a lot more than the unconscious. It goes down to spirit and soul and heaven itself. It's the voice of the heart. Here's one of my... This one's a little bit distorted, unfortunately. Well, I was overloaded when I recorded it, but it's such a wonderful reversal, I've decided to include it. So just ignore the distortion, okay?
So, needing to hear my soul voice on the conscious level more.
That soul voice, I'm naked within. That soul voice, the voice in heaven, the voice of the spirit, the voice of the heart. Okay, let's change topics again, shall we? Look, I could spend all weekend talking about spiritual reversals. I've got so many of them. You know, what I'm really trying to do in this lecture is just a little points, bullet points of what it is. I mean, I can lecture for days, weeks, months on this. Okay. When we're working with my clients, when reverse speech talks about personality and behavioural patterns, it speaks very much in metaphor, using words like wolf, Lancelot, Garden of Eden. Here's me talking to a client.
You strike me as a very enthusiastic guy. I mean, certainly the time we've been together, and you've got all full of ideas. Is this latest? Is this just a latest idea? Is it just all froth and barble, or do you really want to get out? And do you really want to get?
And he says, "See the wolf fallen in the lake."
See the wolf fallen in the lake. See the wolf fallen in the lake.
So what does that mean? Well, when I first started my research back in '87, I found words like this, and I go, what on earth? Scratching my head. It took me many years to work it all out. I'm still learning, obviously, but I'm pretty happy with the package I've got now after 42 years. Wolf is a common metaphor. It means our motivation, our drive. And lake is emotions. So this client had just had a nervous breakdown. He was a salesman. He was no longer able to sell. And so his wolf, or his motivation, was drowning in a sea of emotions. See the wolf fall in the lake. I'm going to talk to you about how we fix this as we continue. Okay, here's another one speaking in metaphor. Hang on, let me play it again. He says, I would like to think that everyone is happy.
Think that everyone's happy and, love and life.
Yeah, right, okay.
No better gift than this dollar.
No better gift than this dollar. No better gift than this dollar.
And dollar is part of what the money metaphor group, which is energy, interactions, emotions. So he wants everyone to be happy. There's no better gift than this dollar, and this wonderful thing that we can give. Okay. Moving right along. All right. In session work, reverse speech, I'm going to get on some session work examples in a sec. Reverse speech will diagnose the problem. It will usually do it in metaphor. And it will also tell us the solution to this problem, which will also be in metaphor. I'm going to show you some examples as we go on, and you'll see how this works. But this is another salesman. I tend to get a lot of business people as clients. This is another salesman talking about how to get his business out.
I guess there's two things. I don't know how much information yet to put in the pamphlet, and whether to have some information pack to send to them. There's two ways I could go. It depends what this looks like, whether that's sufficient or whether there's too much for that.
And here he says, oops, I missed it, sorry. See the whirlwind to shift this devil out. Sorry? See the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
To shift this devil out.
See the whirlwind to shift this devil out. See the whirlwind to shift this devil out.
So that's, okay, whirlwind, very common metaphor. It refers to an energy field that surrounds us and the planet. And so literally what I will do, the devil in this case is a metaphor for his negative emotions, things that are holding him back. So I'll literally, in my, I've developed my own form of hypnosis for working with reverse speech. We'll talk about that in a sec. And I will literally put this guy in a light hypnotic trance. I'll have him see a devil, and I'll have a whirlwind come around and take the devil away. And as you change the picture, you're changing the metaphor, which changes the behaviour. This is a whole new approach to therapy. No one in the world is doing what I'm doing. And I have amazing results in session work. I see lifetime problems gone in one round. I've seen money blocks from me. Look, I just had a client 2 or 3 days ago, and he's on the phone saying, David, I can't believe it. I've got all these checks coming in. It's like they're coming in from everywhere. I've gotten about $60,000 so far. And I said, yeah, welcome to the world of reverse speech. Find your money blocks and remove them. Bang, we can do it. I get miracles in working with clients. Whirlwind. Here's a wonderful reversal about a whirlwind.
I was just visualizing the whirlwind, visualizing the wolf like we used to do because we've done it before.
Absolutely.
And it's just and bringing that power and that life force, and I think absolutely fantastic, you know.
And he says, see yourself full with love, give me whirlwind.
See yourself full with love, give me whirlwind. See yourself full with love, give me whirlwind. See yourself full with love, give me whirlwind.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Next one along. Uses another wolf metaphor.
Then I'm always going to carry it around with me, regardless. Like baggage.
Right.
So if we heal it and it's gone, it's gone.
The wolf likes a battle for survival.
Regardless of what happens.
Sorry, a little bit more.
Right.
The wolf likes the battle for survival. The wolf likes the battle for survival.
Wolf, battle for survival, living life, struggling, doing what you got to do to get things out. The wolf likes the battle for survival. Another metaphor. Here's a client who had cancer, very bad cancer. She actually died. 2 weeks before she died, I found this reversal on her. And I knew I couldn't fix her, and I spent the last 2 weeks getting her ready for her transition. So, and it happened 2 weeks later after I did the meta walks with her.
It could be that the wound to the soul because of the cancer, like just yeah. How's that for?
The killer snake it possessed.
The killer snake it possessed.
The killer snake it possessed.
Yeah, the snake did kill her. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to fix her. She came to me too late. If I can get them early, I can generally do some good, but if they're too late, I can't. So, okay, so far we have looked at reversals from the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and spirit. To go even deeper, reverse speech taps into the collective unconscious and deeper knowledge with insights and premonition. What is the collective unconscious? According to famous psychiatrist Carl Jung, it is a storehouse containing the totality of human knowledge. Reverse speech verifies this and goes even further by saying the collective also contains knowledge of future events and knowledge not yet known to humanity. I believe reverse speech contains the secret to light speed, to marvellous scientific discoveries. It's all inside. It's all within. Once we've got more than me, one person doing this, and plus the students I've trained, the knowledge that we can find out is all in there. Reverse speech taps into all of that. Look, people say the conscious area of the mind is about 5% of consciousness. I believe that's too great. I think it's about 1% of consciousness. We've got so much knowledge and depth inside of us that are yet to be tapped. Reverse speech will tap into that, and it's going to take once it's accepted, it's going to take us to our next evolutionary leap as we continue to move forwards as a race. All right, so you get future tense reversals. Here's a salesman talking about his next client.
And developing relationships with customers and prospects is not uncomfortable for me, but...
and here he says, there'll be an awful fuck-up.
There'll be an awful fuck-up. There'll be an awful fuck-up.
And 2 weeks later, he messed up an order with his client and almost lost his job. So reverse speech was able to predict that was going to happen. Here's George Bush, W. Bush Jr., 2 weeks before America went into Baghdad, into Iraq.
We'll help that nation to build a just government after decades of brutal dictatorship.
The form and leadership of that government is for the Iraqi people to choose.
And here he says, we will sit in Baghdad.
We will sit in Baghdad.
We will sit in Baghdad.
Future tense reversal. Okay.
Help that nation.
Oh, here's a really interesting one. This one really got me thinking. I found this on Australian client 3 months before 9/11. This one in Australia, never been to America, no connection with America at all. Yet listen to this reversal.
That I said that, I will be an opener of souls and made the most credible feeling of my heart chakra just bursting wide open.
And here he says, soon plan evil on America.
Soon plan evil on America. Soon plan evil on America.
Of course, 3 months happened. It happened. He was tapping into his inner knowing. His, you can call it psychic abilities if you like. Well, how are you going so far? Are you hearing all of these reversals? Are you starting to get some of the implications of this discovery and the change it can make? I believe it's significant as electricity, significant as the X-ray. You know, until we had the X-ray, we didn't know what was going on inside the human body. Until we had reverse speech, we didn't know what's going on inside the human mind and the human soul. Reverse speech is a discovery as significant as that. Okay. Oh, this is a reversal this happened a few years ago. This really got me into thinking about the collective unconscious. This is on me. I'm on a radio show in London. So here we go. I'm in London when this reversal was found.
It's the most powerful way because you can hear it in straightforward everyday English. But yeah, we are hardwired to tell the truth.
And I say, on the highway, there's the chill here.
On the highway, there's the chill here. On the highway, there's the chill here.
Well, I didn't find that reversal. One of my students analysed the radio show and found this reversal. Send it to me. Yes.
If I may interrupt.
Yeah.
What state of mind were you in when you said that in reverse? I mean, were you just talking just normally?
I was just talking normally. Yeah, just giving a radio show about reverse speech. This had nothing to do with the radio show. That's why when she sent it to me, I go, I don't know what it means. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I'm in America and I'm flying to see my right-hand man, a chap named Jeff Toth, who lives in Oregon. And we're flying into the airport and the plane can't land because the airport's snowed in. So it flies back to Portland. I hire a car. I start driving. It started snowing, lightly, heavier. Before too long, I'm in a raging blizzard down to 5 miles an hour, driving on the wrong side of the bloody road. And so this reversal came true. On the highway, there's a chill here. And I was able to tap into that. That was already inside me. Here, listen to this next one. This one will really freak you out. This is JFK in 1961 on his inaugural address.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
Listen to this. Head is hitting the car.
Here to sit in my car. Here to sit in my car. Here to sit in my car.
So he is having a premonition of his own death. He was murdered with a bullet to the head in a car. It's 2.5 years before it happened. He's tapping into the collective unconscious. All knowledge of the past and all knowledge of the future exists inside here. It all does. 99% of the mind is unconscious currently. I'm hoping reverse speech will change that. Okay. Okay, so some of the uses of reverse speech. Excuse me. Truth detection, politics, law enforcement, business, psychotherapy. You can go on and on and on and on. So many applications for it. All right, here's some examples from businessman. This is a man who's talking about a new business.
He is very, very excited about setting up a seminar stroke educational business with me and Sarge and Pete as well.
And here he says, earn a massive fund with this. And he did. He made a lot of money out of that business partnership. Now here's me with an Australian partner, no, man who's trying to convince me to be a partner. And here's that. This reversal's on him, not me. But the accents sound exactly the same if you're not Australian.
Well, we'll negotiate that with Anchor Point when we go over there, yeah. Yes, I agree with you. I agree.
That way, if we contain sole rights to the books, they're channeled through us. Now, are Anchor Point always going to be publishing this book?
They have options on my next book.
And here he says, I'm so full of shit.
I ain't so flashy.
Clearly not a man you want to do business with. Have you ever gone into business with a partner or have made some decision? Oh, should I do this or not? Oh, I don't know whether this is going to work out. Versals will tell you. Versals will tell you whether it's going to be successful or not successful. Because we know. We know it all. It's all down in there. It's just hidden under layers and layers of rubbish that we've built up over the years.
He is very, very...
Okay, here's a businessman talking about growing his business.
The trick is to grow your competitors and be more relevant than your competitors.
Right.
And if you can do that quickly enough, then more of the new clients, if they start to finish their wings.
I see us with love in the throne.
I see us now in the throne. I see us now in the throne.
So, good positive reversal. He's going to rule over his business. It's going to be nice and pleasant. It's all going to work well. Now here's a man who didn't listen to his reversals. He wished he did. He was going to make an investment, $50,000, okay, into some investment in America. So he comes to me to find out whether he should do this investment or not. So here's his discussion.
Tell me about your phone call with your friend where it didn't record.
And it says her job holding up the bank. So I told this guy, listen, I don't know what she's doing, but whatever she's doing, it's illegal, and she's stealing money. He said, no. So I invested his $50,000 anyway, and it was a Ponzi scheme. He lost all his funds. So, should have listened to his reversal. I don't know why. It puzzles me sometimes. You know, when clients come in for session work and they get a very clear instruction, don't do this or do that, and they go ahead and do exactly what the reversals tell them not to do, and then wonder why it doesn't work. I don't know. So here's a woman who's going to sue her employer for wrongful dismissal.
I was laid off from my job, and I'm very hurt by it, not because of the fact that they have no money and they're laid.
Get half of the blanking money. Wow. Yeah, there we go. So, F words are quite common in reverse speech. It's we all think it inside, even though we don't always say it. You get it quite often.
Tell me.
All right, my career and first love. I have taken reverse speech in the area of therapy. That's because I was a therapist before I did reverse speech. I was a youth worker working with street kids. My dad's a minister. I was raised in the church. I've always had a great compassion for people and working with people. So I took it into therapy. Now, there's a lot of other areas you can take it into, and other people who get trained will take it into their own areas. But that's where I took it into, therapy. How are we going there? All right? Yep. One of the most significant uses of reverse speech, and one to which I devote most of my working hours, is its use in the therapeutic situation. When used of this concept, reverse speech can diagnose the exact cause of the issues for which the client is seeking. You can do that in one session. You may have to do 6 months, 12 months of therapy in the regular therapy to get that information. It will map out future incomes of the pattern. If you don't change this, this is going to happen. Next week, you're going to fall down the stairs and break your neck. It will tell you how it's going to work. It will tell you ways to change and fix the problem. It will pinpoint the metaphor that the unconscious are using for the pattern. And my whole approach to therapy is change the metaphor, hence the pattern, And I use a specialized form of hypnosis to do that. Okay, so the last 42 years, I've got 40 years up there, I've developed a therapeutic technique that I call metaphor restructuring. This technique uses the client's own reversals to both recognize and alter unconscious metaphoric structures. It's an 8-session process, 1 session a week. It goes like this. I'm very proud of this. This is my first love of reverse speech, because I love working with people, I love helping people. So recording one, first thing I do is I get my clients, I work over the phone, so I work all over the world, get my clients, make a recording for 30 minutes. I'll then go away and I'll analyse the tape. That takes me a few hours, and then we'll get together for the second session where I report the results back to them. Then I'll do a second recording. And the second recording is looking for solutions. How do we fix this? What do we do to change the pattern? The client's not going to know. But I tell the client, just talk. Just talk. The reversals will come out. And then it'll tell me exactly what to do, step by step, usually in metaphor. See the warrior to shift this devil out. Pull the wolf out of the lake. And so I've developed, I call it hypnosis, but it's really... It's a form of hypnosis. It's more like light relaxation. And I will have them visualise their metaphors, like the man whose wolf will fall in the lake. I'm saying, take the wolf out of the lake, pick him up, remove him out. I told about the whirlwind shifting the devil out. So I work solely through pictures and images. Okay? I do 2 meta walks, 1 week apart. I then do a third recording where I ask the unconscious what changes have taken place. Where are you at now? And the verses will tell me. So this is fixed, that's not, you still need more work on that. So then I'll do a final meta walk where we mop it all up. Now sometimes I have to go on to a second round. Sometimes you can't get it all in one round. I try to, but it doesn't always work that way. Okay, so let me show you some examples of reversals in session work. This is a great one.
I was going to pull up my reversals so I could see.
Oh, hang on, let me just share the screen. I've got them up. Hang on. This one says, release the council, serve you our power.
Release the council, serve you our power. Release the council, serve you our power.
Yeah, the council of reverse speech. Show me the issues. Give me my advice. And then reverse speech tells us where this counsel or advice is coming from.
So, but I'll just talk to Dr. Stanovich if he doesn't, and
deepest heaven, answer God.
Deepest heaven, answer God.
Deepest heaven, answer God. Deepest heaven, answer God.
In other words, remember the verse I played? It's the voice in heaven. That's where reverse speech is coming from the deepest heaven. And the advice that the counsel is coming from is from the Spirit or from God Himself. And here's a client telling me to fetch heaven, bring heaven to him.
That's the big question of the week.
You will find the shock, David, fetch heaven.
You will find the shock, David, fetch heaven. You will find the shock, David, fetch heaven.
Wonderful reversal.
So,
all right. Here's some reversals in session telling us what the problem is. This is a woman who had asthma.
He's left it in there, and I have to stuff towels under the door to keep the mold smells from coming out.
And this one says, under the floor, pus in my head. So I played the reversal to the client. She had no idea what it meant. But out of curiosity's sake, the husband went and looked under the floorboards of the house and found 18 inches of mould growing under the whole house. Cleared out the mould, this woman's asthma virtually vanished. So how did she know? Her unconscious mind knew. She was unconsciously smelling the mould coming from under the floorboards of the house. She didn't know consciously, but her unconscious mind did, and we were able to resolve the problem in just 2 sessions. It was that fast. Here's a lady who's got money problems. Reversals tell us how to fix it.
She and I need to work this issue out, but it started to bring up all my money fears and stuff. And the thing is if I know I start sourcing fear again, I'm going to go way downhill.
want to do that.
This one says, work on my grief.
Work on my grief.
Work on my grief.
So, what has grief got to do with money? I asked her. Goes back to her father. Father was very wealthy. Used to use money as an emotional bargaining chip, and caused the woman a lot of trouble as a young child. So she had a lot of grief connected to money, and so the reversals tell us what to do. Now, using regular therapy, it may have taken weeks, months to get to that, but it was reverse speech. You can get it in 1 second. Here's a man who has a temper problem.
Build that up, but it's double tough because I'm traveling abroad. I've chosen to live outside America. Anyway, I'm still relying on him to help me.
This one says, a crime with our father.
A crime with our father. A crime with our father.
Yeah, his father had a huge temper. He got the temper from his dad. So that tells me the source of the problem. I can then go and work with it. Okay? All right. Okay, where are we? Reverse speech tells us we sabotage our life and successes in a variety of different ways. Session work reveals these sabotage patterns. In this example, a lawyer who was also a reverse speech student talked about getting reverse speech accepted in court. Reversal indicates he has little empathy because he's lost his whirlwind, and he later sabotaged his involvement in reverse speech due to ethics violations, and I kicked him out of reverse speech. I've only ever done that, I think, twice in my career, actually kicked someone out. But he sabotaged his whole involvement, and reversal, one from the first session, tells us how he's going to sabotage it.
Okay, unless there's a precedent from some higher court somewhere authorising speech reversals to be used, no one's ever going to touch it. No lawyer I'm talking about, apart from people like me.
And then he says, end goal, getting blanked, having lost my whirlwind.
Yeah, no, getting stuff. No, because no,
So he's setting it up in his unconscious already to be sabotaged and kicked out of a reverse speech training course. And that's what happened. Reverse speech says that everything that happens to us, we have some say in that. I'm not getting away from anyone else's fault, but we have some. Here, look, I play some examples. It'll illustrate it. Okay, here's a man who's talking about his relationship. Here we go.
Where do you see the future of you and Sarah?
I think that that's something that changes a lot, but it's also, I think, become somewhat of a day-to-day thing with us.
And here he says, but I must muck it.
That I must muck it.
That I must muck it.
That's an unconscious command telling him to sabotage the relationship and mess it up. This is a very controversial one, this one, and I ummed and ahed about including it in the presentation. I finally decided I would. It's a woman who's in an abusive relationship, okay? Now, I'm going to play you reversal. I'm not taking anything away at all from her boyfriend who abused her, okay? Obviously, that is totally wrong. He should be in jail. But part of her wants to be abused and will unconsciously create the situation for that to happen, either finding a boyfriend who will abuse her. So here it is, make him abuse me.
And I was really surprised where that came from and that I even allowed him to even get back into my head like that. I was shocked.
And here she says, make him abuse me.
Make him abuse me. Make him abuse me.
It's a controversial example because I'm not saying it's her fault, but on some level she wants that abuse. Maybe she grew up with it from in the family, father abused her and she's got that mindset. But in order to stop the abuse, You've got to work with her and fix her and get rid of that pattern. And then she won't create abusive situations into her life. I remember a woman who came to me for session work once, and she comes in, she's dressed in this really tight, provocative clothing. I didn't know where to look my eyes. It was shocking. And she said, well, look, I've been raped 17 times. I've no idea why it's happening to me. And her reversals were shocking. See, I make it happen, I want it, I go out, of course, just the clothes she wears has told me all of that. Here's another woman.
Fear of doing it on my own, although there's another part of me that likes to do it on my own.
And here she says, I am wanting you grief.
Oh, I am wanting you grief. Oh, I am wanting you grief.
So she will go out and find situations in her life that will cause her grief. Reverse speech is very much about personal responsibility. It says that we create the world in which we live. We create it from the unconscious. We attract the people in our lives to fulfill what our unconscious wants. Maybe, you know, who knows how she will create grief in her life, but she will.
Where do you see the future of you and Sarah?
Oh, here's a nasty one. This is a woman where reverse speech will reveal exact life events that cause current problems. Here's a reversal that says, send your dick within daddy. It was a woman who was sexually abused.
You're trying to tell, it's going its own way. It hasn't got the message that you don't need it to keep doing this.
Oh, I see.
And send your dick within daddy.
Send your dick within daddy. Send your dick within daddy.
And yeah, she'd been badly abused as a young child. Here's another person who'd been abused by a brother. Now this is a very interesting example because this woman had been engaged about 4 times. All the relationships had broken up. And she came to me to find out why. And this is what I found.
I even marked it on the calendar when it shifted. It was the night that it happened. My friend Cheryl was just telling me about how, you know, what we believe, we then create, and it just shifted, and that's when I just...
And she says, I've been molested.
I've been molested. I've been molested.
Play to that reversal, she broke down in tears. She'd been arrested regularly by her brother. She had never told a soul, wasn't going to tell anyone, let alone me. But yet the reversals were able to reveal and pinpoint the event that had caused all her relationship problems. Now here's a woman looking for some traumatic event in her life.
So there's no cause or event in your life you can say this is what's causing that, or thoughts that run through your mind.
I don't have a specific pattern of thought, David, behind that. It's more a feeling, and a visual image of it. I don't quite get a relevance or a connection with, you know, when I was whatever age this happened, and
So she says, I don't get it. I can't think what event might have caused it. I don't get a recollection of whatever age this happened. And then she says on that section, the bad orphan. Play to the reverse, and she said, oh my God. When I was really young, my mum and dad had this huge big fight, and I ran into the house, ran into the room and tried to break them apart. Dad stormed out of the room and promptly died of a heart attack on the spot. That event had implanted itself in her mind. She was a bad orphan. She's no orphan now, Dad's dead, and she was bad because she caused Dad to die. So that's her belief. So even though she said forward, I can't think of an event, the verse says, this was the event here, when this happened.
We're trying to tell the markers on the calendar.
All right. Reverse speech can, in one 30-minute session, reveal reasons for behavioural problems, pinpoint areas in someone's life where issues started, reveal hidden memories, predict future outcomes, suggest ways to work with issues. I've covered all of this. The big advantage is that it is not the analyst diagnosing the problem and working out how to fix it. It's not me saying this is what's wrong with you and this is how you must fix it. It's you saying this is what's wrong with you and this is how you must fix it. It taps into the wisdom of the unconscious mind. All right, once the initial 30-minute recording is made and the unconscious pattern isolated, another recording is made to ask the unconscious how to fix this pattern. Amazingly, reversals will come back providing solutions. I call these trance instructions. Here's a simple one. This is a woman who's suffering from depression.
I started doing something about my life, about the situations that I found myself in.
And here she says, need more sunlight.
Need more sunlight. Need more sunlight. Need more sunlight. I started doing...
So this is a woman who actually listened to her reversals, very wise woman. She took down the curtains from her window, cut all the trees down around her house, let the sunlight in, and within 2 weeks her depression had gone. Simple as that. Simple as that.
I started...
Here's a woman struggling with her own divinity. Reverse speech says that we are divine. God lives within. Life is endless. All the powers of divinity resides inside of us. I believe that as a race we will learn to tap into those divine powers. I believe reverse speech is a very key factor in that happening. Once there's more than me and a handful of others doing it. So here's the first one.
How could you use that divinity to your advantage to get your desires for life?
Yeah, that's a good question. How can you use my divinity to get what I desire?
Here she says, give us divine.
Give us divine. Give us divine.
You know, I do a lot of work with spirituality in my meta walks. I'll take people to heaven to commune with God, tap into the divine entity inside. I believe in it very strongly. As a husband and wife, I used to do a lot of husband and wife counselling sessions. I haven't done one for many years now. And here's the wife in a husband and wife counselling session.
If he expresses his point of view quite vividly or violently, then it actually comes back on him, and I show him unconditional love, and he actually learns from his mistakes.
And here she says, heal the love while you're living.
Heal the love while you're living. Heal the love while you're living.
In other words, do it right now. But there's a really strange twist to this. 2 weeks later, husband and wife having a huge fight. Wife got out a knife and stabbed herself in the chest. Yeah, didn't die, but the husband was arrested. But then the wife said, "No, I did it." So they got off. But this is a warning. Do it now. You know, don't wait. Do it now. And here's another one that says, "Deal with sad youth." In other words, work on my youth.
And it allows me to do other things. And now that I've got this nice little balance where I work 3 days a week normally, and I have 4 days off, so I can pursue either the art or the whale watching or whatever else.
Deal with sad youth.
Deal with sad youth.
Deal with sad youth. Deal with sad youth.
Once again, another instruction telling us what to do. Here's another instruction in metaphor. Here we go.
Keeping it back.
Yeah. But I don't know how to get rid of that, you know.
Tough one.
It was really tough. It's like this. It's like having a security blanket.
Have a new egg in the hand.
Have a new egg in the hand. Have a new egg in the hand.
So she's saying, I don't know what to do. Reversal says, have a new egg in the hand. Egg means a new beginning, a new start. So what I'll do in a meta walk is I'll actually have her hold out a hand and I'll put an egg in. And as you change that picture, the behaviour changes. It's as simple as that. It all happens through metaphor. Metaphor is the structure of the unconscious. Yeah, here's a great one. Here's another great one.
But I don't know how to get
Stop. Here we go. I love this one. Yep, I need light. Starts in the heart.
Yep, light starts in the heart. Yep,
reverse speech talks so much about light and the heart and God and Yeshua and the Son. I'm not going to play the last one. All right. Once the first two recordings are made, a tailor-made guided visualization is then written using a specialised form of hypnosis that I've developed myself, and I call it a meta walk, and it's a pictorial journey through the unconscious using the person's own metaphor as a guide. It's a combination of two words, metaphor and walkabout. I came up with the name one day. Walkabout is the Australian Aboriginal spiritual pilgrimage through the outback. Okay, so a meta walk is a spiritual pilgrimage through the deserts of the unconscious. And there you go. Here's a client that says the divine needs a meta walk.
I'm where I'm supposed to be, and so I don't have a lot of fear or a lot of problems, like stepping forward and saying, I'll just go ahead and change my whole life, because
divine needs meta walk.
Divine needs meta walk.
And here's a client talking about the meta walk. Oh, this is it's one of my students talking about a meta walk she just gave her client.
One of them, the one that I've actually just done the meta walk for.
And here she says, you share God and love.
You share God and love.
You share God and love. You share God and love.
You know, when I first went public with reverse speech, I kept spirituality right out of it, and I purely presented it as an unconscious phenomenon. I didn't want spirituality to... Look, I had dreams back there of universities accepting it as a valid and real technology, but as time has gone on, I cannot deny the spiritual side of reverse speech. It's just very, 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 very strong. So, you share God and love. That's what she's doing in the meta walks, sharing God and love. And here's some examples after the meta walks, showing the changes that have taken place. Here's one.
With the feedback from the reversals that I've done with her, it's for me it's not hard anymore. It's really lovely.
Spirit and the goddess will serve her.
Spirit and the goddess will serve her.
Spirit and the goddess will serve her.
Goddess is a very common metaphor in reverse speech. It refers to hope for the future, dreams, aspirations. Here's another client says, healing that wolf.
And they were interested in the theory. So I spent about a month or so preparing it for them so that they could understand it. And it was the MS Society of Southland, which is in New Zealand. And so I'm really happy with that.
So he's having good success in his business now, and he says backwards, healing that wolf.
Healing that wolf. Healing that wolf.
No, that tells me I've had success in the session work. Here's a couple of others. This one says, living in the earth with joy.
Yeah. I also enjoyed the being in the vineyard. Living in the earth with joy. Living in the earth with joy. Living in the earth with joy.
We're getting close to the end, folks, so you don't have to sit through this much longer. Okay, here's another one that says, I have potential now.
I don't know, I guess maybe in my mind, where I'm looking at, because I haven't seen the results of it, I'm thinking, it's sort of like taking a chance.
I have potential now.
That's the male. That's the male.
That's after I've done the meta walks. He's got his potential back again. And here's one, someone says, this source healing.
So then perhaps we finally sorted her out. Who knows? This source healing.
This source healing.
So reverse speech will tell me what the problem is. It'll tell me how to fix it. And it'll tell me how success my attempts have been in fixing it. Okay? All right.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I love these two reversals here. Listen to what two people speech reversals say about session work. This is a new student who suddenly realises what I'm doing with session work.
I think it's awesome. I think it's in a healing situation, it would be just wonderful to, it's a bit like you cheat. You tell me what's wrong, you tell me how to fix it. How easy is that? So
this source to give help.
The source to give help.
The source to give help. The source to give help.
Yeah, reverse speech is the source to give help. This is a great reversal, this one. Next one actually uses the word reverse speech in reverse. And this is a client talking about his hopes for session work.
You know, Sylvain about, you know, according to David, you're supposed to be one of the big guys in reverse speech in the future, which would be great. And then the reversal said, found the Steve server. And he thinks that Sylvain's going to be the one that helps me find my higher self. I really don't know.
And here he says, reverse speech in life, this will serve.
The reverse speech in life, this will serve.
The reverse speech in life, this will serve.
A reverse speech is here to serve us and to help us.
Yep.
Okay. All right, now we come to the sales pitch. There's always a sales pitch at the end of every session, so here we go. How can reverse speech help you personally? Do you want to know if your business will be successful? Do you want to know hidden secrets? Will your relationships work? Do you want to change your life? What is your spiritual path? What's your relationship with God? Would you like to access the best and best that you can be? I charge $500 for 30 minutes of recording time. Bear in mind, it's not the 30 minutes you're paying for, it's the many hours I spend at my desk with headphones on finding the reversals. Session work, I charge $1,700 for a whole round of 8 sessions. I think that's cheap, personally. Therapists will charge you $200-300 an hour and take 10, 20, 30, how many sessions? If anyone's interested in the session work, I take payment plans. Come and talk to me afterwards. All right. Let me tell you what I'm really looking for, though. This is a call for action. I believe reverse speech will change the world, but I can't do it by myself. I need people. We need qualified reverse speech analysts out there. There's only a dozen in the whole world in the 42 years I've been doing it. It's frustrating to me. I get frustrated. I think, why can't I get good students? It takes a special type of person to learn reverse speech. You've got to be willing to work hard. You know, you're seeing me lecture here and I'm playing you examples, but it's taken me several hours to find each example I'm playing for you. So it's a lot of work. You've got to sit at your desk with headphones on. You know, I mean, sometimes back in my early days, the last thing I wanted to do was another tape. No, not another one. And I'd force myself to sit down at the desk and do it, you know. And eventually, after a while, after years pass, you know, it becomes second nature. And now I told Jeff I'm a machine. I just have my headphones on. Okay, my next training class starts in January. It will teach you how to find genuine speech reversals, how to interpret what you find, how to conduct interviews. Goes right into the human mind and soul. I spent several classes on how the human mind works and what the soul is. I've got lots of answers. How to market yourself, how to get out there and do it. Okay, the training course is for 12 months. There's one 3-hour class held in Zoom every 2 weeks. In addition to class time, there's homework to be done. This will take a minimum of 15 weeks. It's not like regular training course where you can go for a weekend and get a certificate. Unfortunately, reverse speech does not work that way. The course fees include reverse speech audio and video software, the training manual and metaphor dictionary. I charge $5,000 for the training course, which I think is cheap for 12 months of training. I mean, look, I looked at NLP courses, they're charging between $10,000 and $15,000 for 3 months. No. I really think it's cheap. And if you decide to become a student, this is what the future is. Listen to this. Oops, where'd it go? Oh, I lost it. Here it is. Listen to this. I found this reversal just the other day. I was over the moon when I found it. The students of today will be the leaders of tomorrow, as this reversal says.
Somatic massaging. What's somatic massaging?
Oh, hang on. Let me tell you the background behind it. This is a guy who came to me for session work, and he wants to know what to do with his life. He talked about reverse speech, meditation, ayahuasca, and here he's talking about somatic massaging, whatever that is.
Somatic massaging. What's somatic massaging?
Somatic massaging is energy massaging instead of bloods.
Right.
And the beginners in reverse will be famous.
Robinie wiedział, co do tematu. Robinie wiedział, co do tematu.
In other words, whoever decides to get started in reverse speech, you have a wonderful career in front of you. You really do. I'll teach you how to do it all. Do radio shows and interviews and market yourself and get the word out there.
So that's it?
Okay, if you're really serious, then you can train under me full time. I have 4 mentor students who train under me full time. They work with me when I start work in the morning at 8 in the morning, 8:30 I start. I go through to however late I go through to. They sit in with me over Zoom for a whole year, analysing recordings, seeing clients, training students as they watch me write my books. And I charge $12,500 for that, if anyone's interested in really stepping out. Okay, I have written 20 books altogether. Most of them are on reverse speech. But I have written a science fiction trilogy, and that's that one there. I'm really proud of that. I love that. And all my books are available on Amazon. You can have a look at some of them here, but these are only samples. I just didn't have time to go and do it, to get books sent. All right, we're almost at the end. Reverse speech will change society. There's no doubt in my mind about that. What I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime. I really do hope it does. I'm 70, I've got to work hard, but I'm going to get it done. Once accepted, it will bring a revolution of truth. Listen to this reversal predicting the outcome of reverse speech.
What other metaphor would be the optimum metaphor that we could put out into the world that would attract people's interest and enthusiasm and would attract the right kind of people to the process and to our mission and to the work that we do.
We deal with revolution.
We deal with revolution.
It is too. It's a revolution of truth. Hundreds of thousands of analysts out there, man, you've got a whole new world in your hands. It's going to change everything. I believe it's prophesied about in the Bible. I've actually written a whole chapter in one of my books about it, but here's just 2 quotes. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore whatsoever you have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed from the housetops. All secrets will be revealed. And that's from Luke 12, verse 2 to 3. This is Luke 25. Yes, a sword will pierce through your own soul. You know what reverse speech calls itself in reverse? Guess what? A sword. The 2-edged sword of God. Yes, a sword will pierce through your own soul also, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. The discovery of reverse speech is the fulfillment of this prophecy. Oh, I won't do that. That's it, folks. I'm done. Thanks for your interest. Sorry?
Do you do any questions and answers?
Oh yeah, questions and answers, absolutely. Anyone got any questions?
Is this the microphone?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Come on up.
No, all right.
Okay.
Yes, we got one there.
In an instance like some of the rock and roll bands, do they realize some of the satanic messaging they may be putting out there?
No,
they wouldn't even know it.
Same as the church pastors don't know they have satanic messages themselves. No, it's unconscious. We don't know we're doing it. Yeah, and when the news, when the whole backward bathroom prophecy was on, the news is saying we're not doing this.
Oh, you can't hear him?
Oh.
You got to get closer in order to be on the microphone.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, we don't know we're doing it. You don't know you're doing it. Rock artists don't know they're doing it. Church pastors don't know they're doing it. It's all unconscious. So
that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yes.
I have so many questions. I'm trying to find the most appropriate one. But one is with the metaphoric. A lot of times, dreams, we receive messages from God through dreams, and it is through metaphor, so I think that concept is good. But I think the focus when you're listening you have to listen to the forward speech, what they're saying, to put into context what the answer in reverse is. Okay.
Yeah, the forwards is absolutely important.
Okay.
Forwards and reverse. You've got to look at the connections between the two.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
No. Okay.
One more.
Yes. Yes, sir.
God changed Abram's name to Abraham. Is that like a metaphorical change?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I mean, seeing your sight, and then undoubtedly it happened as.
Yes, it is. It all happens through metaphor. Metaphors are the key.
You want to ask your question?
The word became flesh and dwelt among us. The word, the logos is the metaphor. Yes.
I have a question. So if I'm to say the same words, or AI would say the same words in reverse or forward, would we get the same reversals? Could you say that louder?
No, you will not get the same reversals. It's to do with the sounds of speech. Now you can say one sentence, you say it one way. I say the same sentence, I'll say it slightly differently, and the verses will be completely different. Now there are some words that always reverse to say the same thing. I call them constant reverses. There's about 100 of them. I've got a list.
The question I was going to want to ask next.
Yeah, I've got a list. There's about 100 words.
No, that was it.
Okay.
You guys answered it.
But generally, no.
God, sorry about that.
Another one.
Oh, there you grab it.
When language, I think, has a lot to do with it as well. But if somebody speaks Spanish, will their reverse speech come back in Spanish? Okay.
If they're bilingual, you can get reversals in both languages.
Okay.
Even though they might be speaking English, you still have some reversal in the native language, some in English.
Interesting. And then the other part, sorry, I have so many questions as I was listening, but the other one is, so many Christians, including myself, we pray in our prayer language, or some people call it praying in tongues. Have you done much research in that to see, is there messages coming through?
Okay, let me tell you, I was a Pentecostal pastor for 3 years, so I know all about praying in tongues.
Okay, yeah.
I used to do it myself often. Unfortunately, I have not found any good messages praying in tongues. Not one. They've all been very negative. I don't do it anymore. So,
okay.
I wish I could find some positive ones. There may be positive ones out there. But look, this is... Look, I love the church. I was raised in the church. I was a youth pastor. You know, I believe Jesus died for our sins. He's coming again. I don't only believe it, I know it. And it breaks my heart when I look at the churches and the reversals on the leaders. There's hardly any genuine ones out there. I mean, what do you do? We have to have the voice of the heart. We have to be able to see who we are and change. We have to. Society's going to advance forward. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Neil? No, just anybody else? All right.
Okay, well done, Darren.
Yeah. And Mike Tortorici's for hire if you need someone to do videography.